And so we wanted a way to make the communication more dynamic, right? So that we could reach more people. And we've been able to do that through the use of technology. We've been able to cross country lines. I mean, we've been in Ghana, we've been in Uganda, and been able to go all around the country to connect people for the cause of Christ.
Hello and welcome to the Buddy Boss podcast, where we dive deep into the strategies that will help you build, launch and grow your online communities, your courses and your memberships. I'm your host, Jason Broderick, marketing manager and head of content here at Buddy Boss. If it's your first time here or you just haven't gotten around to it yet, then click that subscribe button below this video and then click that bell icon to make sure that you keep up to date with all of the latest content here at Buddy Boss. In today's episode, I'm joined by Erica Wise from BayviewU. BayviewU is an online church platform created as an extension of the Bayview Church's local ministry in San Diego. This platform exists to provide current Bayview members with a place to learn, grow, interact and develop relationships with other members in the spirit of Jesus Christ. Erica tells us about how before BayviewU existed, the church's engagement was dwindling with its congregation, and after the passing of their pastor, his successor had the vision to connect all of their members through their own social network. How BayviewU utilizes Buddy Boss to administer virtual impact groups, where small sections of the congregation can get together in a more intimate space for Bible study, accountability, prayer and fellowship. And how Zoom has allowed members of the Bayview family to take their relationship beyond Sunday service and meet virtually wherever they are in the world. Let's dive in. Erica, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. So could you tell me a little bit about like the Bayview Church, but mostly about like what is BayviewU, what has it got to do with the church, and sort of who does the church serve, and what does BayviewU do for those people?
Yes, so Bayview Church actually is the largest African-American church in San Diego, California. And so our pastor there is Pastor Terry Wayne Brooks, and he probably a few years prior to COVID happening had asked me, I'm the marketing media go-to, had asked me to come up with some sort of system that would allow the members to be able to get together and fellowship there, where they will be able to do similar activities that you would see on a regular social media site, but they'll be able to do it internally, and then also do things like Bible studies, live streaming events, particular for just the members. So things of that nature, something that was a bit more intimate than you would see on a social media platform, but something very similar to a social media platform, but just for the internal body of the church.
Got it. So that's BayviewU is the sort of the incarnation of that, right? It's the sort of the virtual world where the congregation can join, can commune, yes, and can do all of the other various activities that may or may not also exist Correct. In the real world, can exist in the sort of the BayviewU world too. Could you tell me about, yes, I think you mentioned a couple of them there, but could you tell me a little bit of some of the different things that go on inside BayviewU? Maybe if you could tell us if any of them are like virtual representations of stuff that also happens in the actual church, versus if some of them maybe are things that only happen on in the virtual space.
Yes. So one of the main things, in fact, our most active feature is where we have small groups. So we call our small groups impact groups. And so impact is an acronym. You can see it on the website at BayviewBC.org. But impact groups are small groups where it's pretty prevalent among most churches, where they have smaller groups that meet so that they can get to know each other more intimately and fellowship more, so they can learn about God and their relationship with God more in those small intimate settings among people, because studies show that you grow more when you have a small group to hold you accountable. And so with BayviewU, we have online groups that meet. So we have groups that meet online. We have groups that meet offline. So putting it online allowed us to be able to have groups all over the world. So we literally have impact groups that meet virtually on BayviewU all over the world. And so one of the new features that Buddy Boss had was like the Zoom. I loved it as soon as it came. I was so excited about it. And so they were able to connect with Zoom, something that most people were already using. using at the time. And so the impact groups, they heavily meet there. The other thing is our pastor, when he does his impact group, we have a study for probably once a quarter. So once a quarter, he'll do an online study. And so the online study consists of maybe a topic, some sort of topic where he's talking about maybe stress or how to grow your relationship with God. And he records these videos. So these videos are recorded, probably about 5 to 6, maybe 8 sometimes sessions. So the impact groups, they have the recordings. So I go in as an administrator, send them the recording of the small group video of that week. And then all the small groups, they watch it either virtually or in someone's home if they're offline, and they convene that way. And so that's one of the biggest uses of BayviewU that we have right now.
Love that. Love that. And do you also run like sermons that are happening live? Do you like stream those into Buddy Boss as well and
yes,
do that kind of stuff?
So live stream. So we have, and it's funny because I'm just finished meeting with our one of our technicians this week about adding some extra functionality to our cameras. But we have live streams. So every Sunday we're live streaming at 9:15 a.m. and 11:15 a.m. And that is also on our platform on our website as well, as far as Bayview for BayviewU. They're able to live stream the services there. And we have an app. We have of course we have BayviewU app, and then we have a regular church app. I've been trying to find a way to fuse the two. If I could get that would be excellent. But we do have those apps, and they're able to connect with the live stream there too. But yes, we do.
Got it. So you have two apps. BayviewU is your Buddy Boss app.
Yes, that's
but
our social.
There's another. The church has its own app.
It has its own app. Yes.
That's interesting. And did that app exist before BayviewU? Did that sort of
yes.
did that app it preceded BayviewU?
Yes. Which is
I wonder could we there's got to be some way we can get all that stuff from that old app.
It's got to be. It's got to be, because with any organization, in fact, I go to a conference for the Small Business Development Center next week, and I do a couple of marketing workshops there next week. And I'm a big proponent of CRMs, and so with any business and church, you have to have some sort of system where you're managing your clients. And so with the app allows us to be able to better manage our members. The regular Bayview app, the other Bayview app, not the social one, it allows us to manage, and then allows them to give. They can give on that app. They can keep tabs on their accounts on that app. And so I would love to integrate at some point all of it in one. I have desperately been trying to find a way to do that. So yeah. That's why we have two.
That's interesting. Ones. We should definitely have a chat about that more. Maybe the podcast isn't the best place to dive into those specifics, but for sure, it would be really interesting for me to see all of the elements that you've got in the other app, and see which of those could be migrated over or whatever.
Yes.
That's super interesting. So tell me then as well, you are also a freelancer outside of the Bayview Bayview is almost a client of yours, shall we say? You also have other work that you do too, and I think you were mentioning before that you also have another project that you're working on too with Buddy Boss. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I own a small marketing company called Wiserway Media. So wiserwaymedia.com is where you can find it, and I've been doing this for. I officially opened my office back in 2017. I actually had to close it since COVID. I had a team and everything. And so it basically is digital marketing for entrepreneurs and startups. So that's what we do. And so, with BayviewU is one of my clients, and I work a lot with pastors and churches and also other small entrepreneurs. I've worked with the Small Business Development Center. I work with a lot of entities here in San Diego with the small businesses, Accessity, which is a business loan incubators, all these different types of organizations that I work with to work with small businesses. And so Bayview is my biggest, of course. My faith is very important to me. And so I love working working with churches. I do have a project, like you said, coming up. It'll be launched in January. And so because I love working with small businesses and entrepreneurs, I created a marketing startup, a marketing hub for startups and entrepreneurs using Buddy Boss's software. I'm excited about it. Because I think it's the first of its kind. There are tools out there that do similar things, but not as thorough. And so in my years of working, I think I've worked with well over 500 businesses at this point. With my experience, I know what the needs are, especially when you're starting out. And so I've developed Wiserly. It's called Wiserly, WISERLY.io. I've created that to be the starting marketing hub, and then a continuing until they get into scalable phase. So it's like startup to scalable phase. And once you get scalable, of course, you would kind of graduate out of the program.
Got it. That makes sense. I'm firstly really, glad to hear that you've loved working with Buddy Boss so much with one particular client that you've decided to create a whole new business.
Yes, I love
it. With using Buddy Boss as the sort of spine for that too. That's really great to hear. So roll me back a little bit to talk a bit more about BayviewU. Tell me, before BayviewU existed, how was the church doing? Was did you mentioned that it's the largest African American church in the area. Tell me a little bit about how was engagement with the congregation? How was engagement online before the app existed? Tell me a little bit about that.
So when I moved to San Diego in 2012, and so when I started, there was another senior pastor. He's since passed on. He's well known here in the area and in the country, Pastor Timothy J. Winters. And at the time, the media was it was pretty minimum. I think at that point, churches were still getting websites. They were still trying to catch up with the media and so forth. And so at that time, there wasn't a lot of engagement. In fact, there wasn't much engagement online either. I think they maybe had a page that existed. And I came in, I completely rebranded it under Pastor Terry Wayne Brooks. I completely rebranded it. He's a huge visionary. And so I think a lot of that too, I got to give him credit. He is a huge visionary. And so whenever he says, hey, I want a project, I'm the executioner and I go out and I make it happen. And so he had a grand idea of completely rebranding it and then somehow, some way connecting the current media with our members. So there was little to no activity when I came. Most of it was obviously you meet in person at the church, you do that, but you have people who are using phones. We're not utilizing any kind of technology to communicate, to connect with them. The CRM at the time, the system to handle the members was not up to par technology wise. So it was very minimum communication at that point. And so we wanted a way to make the communication more dynamic. Right. So that we could reach more people. And we've been able to do that through the use of technology. We've been able to cross country lines. I mean, we've been in Ghana, we've been in Uganda, and been able to go all around the country to connect people for the cause of Christ. And so, so before BayviewU, there was not a whole lot of connecting that way. Facebook is good, Instagram is good, but it's still fragmented. The communication is still fragmented unless you do something like a Facebook group. I think there were a lot of churches, and even now at the time, creating Facebook groups, but it's still not customized to what your congregation needs are. And so that was the need for something like this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about social media and about how it seems to be, to me, looking at Bayview now, it seems like there's, quite a lot of vibrancy of content across many social media platforms, including hosted content on your own site and sermons that you're streaming and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Did any of that exist before BayviewU? Were they sort of just kind of dipping their toes in the water on social media? Or was the sort of BayviewU the kind of... Did that whole project also encompass a lot of the sort of social media reinvention as well?
So interesting enough, and that's the other thing too. With BayviewU, it was so whenever you're a new person and you come into something new, you want to connect immediately. So it became a real good ground for people who were new. Socially speaking, we had a little bit of a churn rate in the beginning with getting people to be social on it because it was new. Right. And when you're on social media, you're used to interacting with all these different people, people in your family. Facebook, I think, is more family oriented now, which, I graduated University of Florida 2007. And I remember when Facebook had come about in I think it was 2003, 2004, 2004, I think it was. And it was just college. Right. But now Facebook is more family oriented. And so people socialize more there. So when we utilize BayviewU, I don't, the initial usage wasn't necessarily just let's strip Facebook and focus on interacting here. It was just an add-on. And then there was more of a spiritual focus. So I think with not just us, our use case, it was more of a tool that could help you develop the connections that you have within that organization and then help you grow individually. And so I don't think it did away with the social, I don't think it ever would, unless, and this is what I was looking for when I first started developing it, was a way to, and my pastor, this is one of his ideas as well, to tap into the Facebook comment streams into BayviewU so that the communication is seamless. I can't really explain it. I hope you kind of get what I'm saying, where you have this continuous conversation where you can chat with, whoever, a family member or something on Facebook, that part not necessarily shown on BayviewU, but when you make comments to members on BayviewU from BayviewU, it still shows up in BayviewU so that there is not this, well, let me get off of BayviewU, get on Facebook. There isn't this switching. And so that part I would like to kind of see too. But to your question, it didn't dissolve usage of social media on our part for Bayview Church itself, but it was just an added incentive, if that makes sense. I hope that makes total
sense to me. Totally. I think that's an experience that's shared by a lot of our customers, myself included. I forgot to mention before we were on that. I came to BuddyBoss as a BuddyBoss customer, and I have one of the largest BuddyBoss communities that we're aware of. All outside of being a BuddyBoss employee, and that the genesis of that for me was the same. I have 3 really large Facebook groups and several social media platforms surrounding one particular community, and I needed a unifying place to curate all of the best content and resources that I wanted to in the way that I wanted to, and in doing so, I haven't done away with the Facebook groups. I haven't done away with all of the other social media platforms. I use those as the sort of the pools to gather people back to my BuddyBoss site and back to my BuddyBoss community, where I can control all of the content and all of the what's happening in the stream, in the feed, and I can help. I can provide people with more of what they want and less of what they're being distracted by. Correct. On places like Facebook groups and stuff like that. Yes. So tell me then, once the sort of idea existed for the BayviewU, where your pastor was looking for a way to create this sort of combined or unified experience, what were some of the, before you discovered BuddyBoss, shall we say, what were some of the initial challenges or things that slowed you down or stopped you from getting started sooner?
The learning curve, I think with any program, first of all, I love software. I'm always buying it. I think it was the learning curve initially, and making sure that everything was that the end user had a seamless experience. I love WordPress. Whenever I'm doing a website, matter of fact, I just got a new client, and my suggestion for them was WordPress over Wix. because as a web developer, and again, I have very little coding skills, but some there. And so what I find with, and then I'm segueing back into your question, what I find with something like a Wix is if you don't understand design and layout, I mean, it's a robust program, but if you don't understand that, your site's not going to look that great. You know, it'll function really well, but it won't look that great. WordPress somehow comes in the middle. And so I think there was a learning curve because, you know, I understand the nuances using WordPress. And so I was trying, I didn't want to bog the site down from a technical sense. And then I also didn't want to miss steps that would increase the chances of my site not functioning right. And so it was having, you know, I think BuddyBoss does a great job, just a great seamless job technology wise, seeping into the WordPress framework. And so when I first started from a technical standpoint, it was more of a making sure, you know, kind of walking on eggshells, making sure you got step 1 right, step 2 right, so that you had a seamless experience for the end user and that you as an administrator wasn't going in every week having to fix new issues. So that was one of the challenges. We did not have, from a social standpoint, we did not have an adoption issue as far as people adopting the actual program itself, the actual app itself. That was not the issue. I think at the time that I was one of the earlier adopters of the app. And so there was there was lag in communication, but I think it was because it was new. At the time. So at the time that I developed it, it was, you know, the app was new and they were still kind of getting together, the team that was developing this. So it was kind of some communication lag there. But those are the only challenges. So from a technical standpoint, it was more so making sure WordPress didn't, you know, get, for the lack of a better, demonize on me, trying to integrate it with BuddyBoss, and then making sure that it was a seamless experience for our end user. And then also, I think that was the only issue. I don't think I had any other issues other than that. And I'm a perfectionist, so I could have come up with 100 different other things to nitpick about. But yeah, that was pretty much it.
And so, do you think was BuddyBoss the sort of first thing that you found, or had you explored building an app with other options? Had you tried anything else beforehand? Tell me a little bit about that experience.
So I thought about PHP scripts, which is not reliable, not if you don't have a coder on hand all the time to update that. So I thought about I looked into PHP scripting. I looked into no, that was the biggest thing. That was PHP scripting. I never considered any other website platform other than, I think Webflow was but Webflow was like so new. And then having any kind of membership site, absolutely not. It's a great framework though. I love the framework, the stability of the framework there, but that was not a possibility. What else did I look? I looked into a couple themes that had, you know, you have BuddyPress, and I think you guys work very seamless with BuddyPress, but I do think it's very different, if you ask me from a technical standpoint. Looked into that, of course, looked into themes that were membership-based themes. Yeah, it just, none of it worked. None of it was working in the way that we had envisioned it to be. And so those would be some of the things. I'm trying to think of anything else I may have tried, because it was a lot. Look, this was like 2 years in the making. So I may have tried, because it was a lot. Look, this was like 2 years in the making.
Were there any other membership platforms, or any other membership platforms, or any other like SaaS services that you tried? Maybe thinking like we might have our static WordPress site and we might have our membership like on some other platform, or was BuddyBoss kind of the obvious choice?
Nothing was as robust as BuddyBoss. There was one of them, I'm thinking right now, I can't think of the name, that was a SaaS, but it wasn't nearly as robust. So now, we started we started the software and started BayviewU a few years back. And at that time, if you recall, there wasn't a lot of technology like this. at that time. You really had to crawl to find it. So no, not that I can think of right now. I just know that I tried because WordPress was the base for me. It was my foundation period. So I tried a lot of plugins, a lot of themes, and it just wasn't working.
So would you say then that discovering Buddy Boss was sort of instrumental or helped you build, launch, or grow BayviewU faster than it could have ever existed before?
Yes, it was. Finding Buddy Boss was golden, and I don't even remember how. I'm like,
that's probably good. We seeped into your mind. We just sort of. We found you in the ether and we just whispered
good
to you.
SEO on your part. Right. Something. I think it was SEO. We got to get into SEO right now. Cause I'm an avid, online researcher. So I got to give it to SEO.
Right. Nice. I would say that was all to do with me, but I probably wasn't even at the company by then. So it definitely wasn't to do with me. That's all Tom, that is. He knows how to get into the hearts and minds of the people who need the app.
Yes.
For sure. So to ask you that question in another way, where would you say, if you'd never discovered Buddy Boss, or if Buddy Boss had never existed, where would you say BayviewU would be now?
BayviewU would probably be using the app that we have now. We would probably we probably would string things together. All right, so I'm good at that too. We would have probably had to do a couple things. Maybe create a Facebook group that, and I don't think you can white label Facebook groups. I'm not sure about that, but I would have definitely looked at something like that. So I would have put like a white label subdomain on a Facebook group, or utilize Facebook group more, which was a thought. That was a thought. We would have, technology-wise, probably still would have used WordPress, and then probably gone the Buddy Press way, and tried that. I actually did try that on and a theme with a client of mine. It did not. It was. I don't even want to think about that project. It just did not do well. But I probably would have gone the route of and did it. I probably would have gone the route of WordPress, Buddy Press, use a theme that had a lot of the features that I was looking for, and
But you
or
think
utilize
the experience wouldn't have been as good?
No,
or
it would
wouldn't been the
not
same?
have been. And I'm telling you, I'm pretty good at this. No, I can't see what else I could have done.
That's I guess that's like kind of good to hear that, like,
No, it is.
finding Buddy Boss means like BayviewU has managed to become this amazing thing that it is, and without
it
it,
is.
we would shudder to think where it would be if you hadn't discovered Buddy Boss. So that's really cool to hear. What do you think has been the biggest benefit? Well, I guess what's been the biggest benefit to you personally? Of BayviewU, of creating BayviewU, and then I guess maybe you could talk about what you think the biggest benefit to your pastor of creating BayviewU has been too.
Right now, especially, it's funny that my pastor, he actually he is a visionary, but he envisioned this prior to COVID, and so the biggest benefit is connection. I think, when you think in terms of technology, there are a lot of negatives. But one of the things that I think we've caught on to is connection. And so for us, the biggest benefit was being able to connect our members in a way that had not been done before, help them to grow. So you're basically being able to kind of hit several important needs at one time. You're able to provide content on a platform that they otherwise would have had to search for. Our website is fine, but having that kind of volume of activity on a regular WordPress site is just too much. So it would have definitely bogged down the site, and of course we've had complaints about that before. We used to have a prayer wall on our site, and it was just a lot. it was heavy on the site. That aspect of it, you have a seamless experience. So you have people that can go on this site and get several things. They can grow spiritually with the content that we provide on there. They can connect with other people. Some people don't like the in-person interaction, especially now with COVID. That has been huge for us. We've been open and close and open and close, open and close, and so now we're able to be connected regardless. It's kind of like COVID, proof, where we've been able to meet regardless, and be able to provide that level of connectivity, so to speak. So that, I think, that would be the biggest benefit. Now, technology wise, do you mean it technology wise or just?
Well, that was going to be my next question, which is, what do you think the biggest benefit has been to your users of discovering BuddyBoss, of living inside the BuddyBoss platform? What's been the biggest benefit to them, or maybe what's been their biggest feature that they like? Yeah,
it'd be the ease of use. Another tool that they can connect with through the church. We've had people join. We've had people be saved through the technologies that we use. And so, yes, that has been in the technology itself has been imperative as far as connecting with people who otherwise would not have connected with us. Yeah. And so, and again, I'm attributing all the different technologies that we're using as well. BuddyBoss has just been a great added incentive. And now I was talking to we have a membership pastor. And matter of fact, it was just this week. I just came out of a training this week, and a chaplain training, and he's like, we just got to push everybody to BayviewU. We got to push everything to BayviewU. Got to push everything. And so now I told him we'll meet about it next week. Once I come back from Texas, I said we'll meet next week about it. And we're going to try to push a lot of the processes that we have with taking in new members onto BayviewU and connecting them to ministries and so forth. So yes, it's been very instrumental in that way.
Yeah, for sure. I think it would be great to see what I would describe as a traditional onboarding experience in the sort of traditional student world. But that's really the same for a new member of a congregation. They need to be indoctrinated. They need to be onboarded into the community as a whole. They need to be brought into the church, brought into the fold. They need to be exposed to all of the different facets of the organization, of the congregation. They need to be, given an opportunity to identify those impact groups that they might be interested in. And all of those things, the BuddyBoss app certainly can be a tool for you to do all of those things, to help sort of to join up all of those processes that you may already be doing, some of manually, some of may exist on the other side and whatever, but using the experience to sort of to onboard members. But really what we're talking about is onboarding new members of the congregation, right? That's the sort of same. It's the same philosophy, isn't it? So tell me a little bit about, you mentioned it before briefly, that so obviously the church, so you're not like selling a course, you're not selling a product, no. you are no. It's not that somebody is buying the app, let's say. No. So tell me a little bit about, how is the app financed? You have donations, I assume, from members of the congregation, but that doesn't happen in the BuddyBoss app. Tell me a little bit about the mechanics of that.
Yes. So, yes, we have, we do offering and tithing. And so the offering and tithing, every ministry has a budget, in our church. This is how we run it, administratively. And so marketing has a budget. And so as a part of the marketing budget, we fund the app. We do not sell anything we don't even sell anything on our website. Most of the sermons you can find on YouTube and the content you can find online. But we don't utilize, we have not monetized on the BayviewU app. I think that is something to consider. But right now, it's just solely connection. We value connection to God. We value connection to one another. And so that's been the main hub the main thing for our BayviewU hub.
And so all of the income, I imagine, or certainly most of the predominance of the income, comes from donations from members of the
Yes.
congregation, right?
Yes.
And
Comes strictly
I
from the
assume,
congregation.
yeah, and I assume that's on a like manual. They give you, they donate whenever they want, or they donate whenever they can, as opposed to you don't have like subscriptions or monthly
No.
donations.
Yeah.
Because
No.
one of
Now
the
on the
interesting
program
things
I'm
to explore
developing, that
would
is.
be, right, yeah, I was thinking one of the interesting things to explore would be, I'm sure you may already know this, but you no doubt qualify for the exemption, for Apple's exemption for taking commission from in-app purchases. And
I
so you
didn't know
could,
that.
yeah, so you could have your BayviewU collect subscriptions from your congregation, and you wouldn't have to
I
pay
didn't know
Apple.
that.
You wouldn't have to
Not
pay
new
Apple 20.
subscriptions.
Well, they could do you know, the way, if it was me, now I know nothing about churches, but if it
No.
was me, I would have people donate on a monthly basis. I'd say, hey, listen, you want
Oh, I
to,
see what
if
you're
you want
saying.
to, if you want to
Okay, I
donate
see
to
what
us
you're saying.
regularly, you know, it's a totally optional. All of the content in the app is free. Everything is still free. But if you want to, then rather than going to the main site and like giving us your tithing, or like, if I don't know if you still do the whole like pass around a basket type, put cash in the basket type tithing, you know, if you're a BayviewU member, we now have the facility where if you want, you can donate on a monthly basis through the app. Make it easy for you. Your in-app purchases will do it automatically, and you can cancel anytime you like. And BayviewU
Gotcha.
will, you know, process the subscription. And because we're a church, we get the exemption from Apple, that we don't have to pay their commissions, and so that all of your
Gotcha.
money
Gotcha.
still
That's what you're
goes to the
saying.
church. That would
That's what
mean
you're saying.
that you could manage those donations could come much more easily, you know, from people who just had the app in their hands.
Now,
That they'd be able to do that manually, you know.
we do have, so we have a giving app that we use, a giving company that we use. So there's several. They're like Givelify, Shelby, Giving. So you have, so the, and this would be good for Buddy Boss too. There are several different, and that's the other thing I've been trying to like. So one of the advantages of having a CRM for a church like a Shelby system is that they have the giving part of it. So what you're talking about, that would be something that would that we do separately outside of BayviewU, is utilize those giving platforms because they're kind of familiar with how the nonprofit church sector is supposed to do it. So that's the suggestion. So we don't do that, but that is actually a good suggestion. And I don't know if there's a way to integrate our current giving platform with our Buddy Boss software. I'm not sure, but that would be a great idea, actually.
So I know of one system that's a WordPress system that would work well, which is GiveWP, which is
Oh yes, I'm familiar.
yeah, GiveWP is a WordPress managed, you know, giving platform, and you know, currently there's no direct integration with the Buddy Boss app, but it would work seamlessly in web fallbacks, where you know, we've seen it before. There's plenty of other churches are doing it now. There's a tab in the app. That's when you click, you say give here or donate now, and when you click that, it opens up a web fallback, and people donate or give through GiveWP, which is managed through Stripe. And again, no commissions are taken out of that either. So that would allow people who are inside your app to donate without having to go to this other system. So yeah, and also GiveWP, exactly like you described with the other systems, has its own donor management system. It has its own inbuilt CRM. It has its own. It uses the WordPress user base, and yeah, so all of that still is still in there, and it means the experience would be not quite as seamless as using an in-app purchase, but relatively much more seamless than it is to go to a whole other app to go do your donations, or to have to go on a website outside of the app to do your donations. So if it was me, that would be where I would be exploring next, if that makes sense.
I didn't put the two together. That's actually a good idea, though. I might consider that.
For sure, because the one thing that we can't do right now is we don't have a shopping cart integration. Like we don't integrate with WooCommerce or with GiveWP or with those. We integrate with anything that is 6 or 7 of the key membership platforms that have integrated payment systems. we've built a way for in-app purchases to send information to the membership platforms.
Right.
But that's not quite the same, you know.
Right.
And so in your situation where you need to collect donations, the best way would be give WP in an app tab, and that would load up a web fallback, and people could give with Apple Pay or with or with their
and it works really well with Buddy Boss apparently.
Yeah, it's seamless in web fallbacks. It's not a native integration, but web fallbacks, it's just like if they opened up the page on a mobile browser in your website without the headers and footers. So it looks like it's a really good experience for that in the app for sure. So yeah, that's food for thought there for sure.
Yeah.
So what's the next big thing that you're working on, or that BayviewU is working on? What's the sort of like the next project, the next phase?
So with BayviewU, we are looking, like I told you, my membership pastor is like, hey, we got to move. So we are transitioning most of the, like you said, new member onboarding to BayviewU. We want to hype up the content. So we want to increase the content and the usage of it. And so I think that's one of the biggest things right now. We just actually started something called Bayview Behind the Scenes on Sundays. And so the media team, I've been directing the media team. They've been so awesome. And so we've been doing like new things. We're trying to do new things. And if you know anything about my pastor, he is like I said, he's a huge visionary, and he's all about the media, and so and all about developing new content. And so we're revving up to do new content and to place it on BayviewU. As far as my my marketing project for Wiser Way Media, it's called, like I said, it's Wiserly, WISERLY.io. That launches in January, and I am proud to say that it is Buddy Boss oriented. So it is definitely a full-on Buddy Boss site with some custom integrations, but it is a marketing a hub for startups. So all the marketing resources that you need to get started, and even if you're in the middle of the road, up until scalability. And it provides marketing courses. It'll be marketing courses on there. Of course, you'll be able to do entrepreneur networks. So we have an entrepreneur network on there. We are pushing right now to be able to get and again, all this is going to be done by January, but we do a soft launch in October, but we're pushing to get investors on there, so we can match investors and entrepreneurs on this platform. And then it'll literally be how to step-by-step marketing strategies on this site. So that's going to be launching in January, one of the first of its kind. And so yes, look out for that.
Love it. Nice. Erica, it was really great to chat to you. Thank you so much for giving me of your time. Can you tell everyone a little bit about where they can find you online, where they can find BayviewU? Just tell us a little bit about where people can connect with you if they want to.
Yes, so BayviewU, you can find BayviewU at BayviewU, BAYVIEWU, the letter U.org. And then BayviewBC.org for the church website. So BayviewU, you won't be able to be a part of unless you're a part of the membership, but you can definitely visit us at BayviewBC.org. That is a church website. You can find my website online at ericawise.com, or I will send you to wiserwaymedia.com. I just said it. But you could go to wiserly.io, WISERLY.io for our new marketing hub for startups and entrepreneurs.
Nice. And by the time this episode goes live, chances are we'll be closer to that soft launch you were talking about. This won't be going out for a few weeks anyway, so chances are we'll be a little bit closer to that soft launch. And I hope it goes really well for you, Erica. And thanks so much for being a guest on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm humbled.
You're very welcome. Bye.
Bye.
That was Erica Wise sharing with us how the largest African-American church in San Diego, California, connected its global congregation with BayviewU. If you run an online course, a community, or a membership site powered by BuddyBoss, and you'd like to feature in an upcoming podcast episode, head on over to buddyboss.com/podcast now and fill out the form to get in touch. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to let us know, then make sure to hit that like button below, then leave us a comment and let us know what was the most valuable thing that you learned from this episode. That's it from me. Until next time.